Hey, it's Mr. Spencer. We're talking about Bernice bobs her hair today. We're going to do a quick little summary of the story. All right, there is a video on YouTube. If you search Bernice bobs her hair, it's a HW Film Festival. They do a pretty good little 9-minute student film. It shows teenagers acting out the story, Bernice, Marjorie. So that's a little film festival version that I would say is pretty great if you want to check it out. It's pretty faithful to the story itself, but we're not looking at the YouTube video. We're reading the actual story. All right, so the story starts. It's a Saturday night dance at a fancy country club. All right. In the last video, we talked about how expensive it is that these upper class people are now having their kids go to dances where they can meet and flirt and get to know each other. All right. Now it's summertime. The young, popular crowd, they're home from prep school and they're home from college. And we've got some of these 17, 18, 19-year olds mixing it up. We've got a little mixer. They're looking to have fun. Unfortunately for Marjorie Harvey, her dole cousin Bernice is visiting for the month. And even though Marjorie's one of the most popular girls in town, nobody wants to hang out with poor Bernice. Her cousin, they mostly just talk about things like the weather, chit chat. They don't get along so well. Now, they may be cousins, Marjorie and Bernice, but they couldn't be less similar, okay? Her cousin's sort of dopeless, as you see that tone shift very clearly into almost informal language. This looks like a blog post from 2020, not an F. Scott Fitzgerald story from 1920. So even though they're cousins, they're not that close. They're not friends. They just simply don't understand each other. Bernice doesn't really get the fact that she's like a total snooze fest, and she can't see why the other guys don't like her as much as other girls like Marjorie. So Bernice gets a hint as to why when she overhears a conversation between Marjorie and her mother, Miss Harvey, in which Marjorie comes right out and says what's on everyone's mind. Bernice is just plain boring. All right. She's listening, overhearing it near the bottom of page 4 and on page 5. So the next morning, the truth comes out. Bernice tells Marjorie that she heard everything that her cousin said the previous night, and a terrible fight ensues. At the end of the day, Bernice comes to a dramatic decision. She's like, fine, I'm just going to leave. I'll go back. I'll go back to where I came from in Minnesota. I don't need to hang out with you fancy prep school people. You think you're so great. And Marjorie doesn't even care. She's not even listening. She's like, are you done yet? He's like, what? What do you mean? Well, you're just not being very nice. She's like, I'm not trying to be nice. Do you want to go? When do you want to go? She starts crying. Bernice just can't believe it. She's like, I'm visiting you. I was going to stay a month. If I go home, my mother will just think. And Marjorie's like, geez, just girl, what do you want? Marjorie finally agrees, I can help you. I can maybe help you out a little bit. Just follow a little bit of my advice, okay? You want to be a young girl? You want to be somebody that gets along with these boys? You want to attract some of the boys at these dances? Fine. I'll help you. So she comes to a big decision. She'll put herself in Marjorie's hands, try to earn the art of popularity. Okay, the lessons begin immediately. By the next week, Bernice is ready for action. This reminds me heavily of the movie Mean Girls. Okay, if you've never seen that movie, it's a pretty popular movie from 2004 where Regina George, played by Rachel McAdams, teaches Lindsay Lohan how to get along in the world and fancy herself as a popular high school girl. All right, so that's what it clearly is reminding me of. I think maybe Tina Fey, who wrote Mean Girls, was inspired a little bit by the story of Bernice. All right, so Bernice is ready to learn. She immediately makes a splash. She announces she's going to bob her hair. She's going to actually cut it. All right, so this bobbed haircut, this like the short haircut that she's going to do, it'll make a big social splash. And as a result of Marjorie's coaching, Bernice instantly becomes the toast of the town. And for a few days, everything's gravy. However, it can't last forever. All right, within a matter of days, Bernice has become incredibly popular, too popular for Marjorie's liking, in fact. And even Marjorie's most faithful boyfriend, this guy Warren McIntyre, he defects to Bernice's side. And that's the last straw as far as Marjorie's concerned. She tells everyone that Bernice's famous line about bobbing her hair is just a bluff, which it is. Embarrassed and caught up in the moment, Bernice agrees to get her hair cut that very day in front of all her new friends. However, the haircut is disastrous. The haircut is just not a great execution. So, signals the end of Bernice's short moment in the spotlight. That night, Bernice flees, and before she goes out, she decides to get her revenge. on the last page of the story with Marjorie. Okay, you read those last 2 pages, you're going to see something pretty shocking. Bernice, does she leave with her head up or her head down? What happens at the end of the story? You'll have to read that. This story is a banger. I hope you like it. Bernice Bobs Your Hair by F. Scott Fitzgerald.